Hey everyone, this is Rob Keens of goldsilverpros.com. I have a returning guest back, Chris Marcus, Arcadia Economics. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Rob. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, always a pleasure to have you on the channel. Always very interesting, your perspective on the markets. Wanted to talk about what's going on with First Majestic. I think somebody recently invested in them heavily. Can you give us the details on that?
Sure. I came back this afternoon from lunch, saw the headline. I will pull it up there. You can see First Majestic Silver announces Canadian $78 million bought deal investment by Eric Sprott. I actually did check in with Mark from First Majestic. Does a great job there, by the way. And basically, I guess it could be as simple as the headline reads, but we've seen Eric Sprott investing in a lot of silver companies. I believe this may be his largest single silver company investment, and certainly a lot of folks, myself included, expecting First Majestic to at some point do quite well in this rally. I haven't checked this week. First Majestic actually was down on the year, lower than when silver was $18.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I have talked about it before. I don't know, is that the short position? Is that funds are afraid to jump in? But Eric Sprott was not afraid to jump in today. So we had a little big piece of news in the silver world.
Yeah, Sprott's not afraid of taking chances. And usually he's right. He's usually a pretty good guy to follow.
Yeah, and to me, it makes a lot of sense because, I don't know, if you liked First Majestic when silver was $18, and then now silver is $26, $27, $28, depending on which day you look, and the price of First Majestic silver is lower, you would seemingly like it more with $27 silver than 18, and at least that was in my trading days, thinking about probabilities. Our trading shop was very big on conditional probabilities. So given this, then that, and I wonder if perhaps with First Majestic we'll see something similar to what we saw with the price of silver, where it sat there under $20 for 4 years, and then when it finally moved, went up $10 in a month. And, I guess that's what happens with markets that are highly levered. And I wonder, and it's not just First Majestic where we've seen that pattern. Some of the other miners have been similar like that in the silver space. So that's my guess. If they start selling their silver at $30, $40, $50 or more, I think that will sort itself out in due time. But seems like Eric Sprott was taking advantage of it.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Another one to follow. Lots of good things to say about First Majestic. In the past, I said I thought they were undervalued. I think they're a great company, so I'll second that motion. And silver has done very, very well this year. I think we're down $11 at one point, weren't we, during the height of the crisis or the initial COVID problems, and we're up around, what is it, 26, $27. I think silver overall has done very good this year. I expect the mining companies will do really well when they get those earnings reports out. We should start seeing those here in the next few weeks to a month. So now would be a good time to get into them, definitely. So you have something coming up called SilverFest. So why don't we talk about that for a moment? I believe this starts tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's starting on Friday, September 11th. Interesting day. But yeah, we'll make something positive out of this one. We have tomorrow we'll start with just a login meet and greet. Then we'll be watching Trading Places and a little late night silver talk gathering. I'm quite blessed to be part of this schedule. It's a lot of the main voices in the silver world. David Morgan's going to be involved quite a bit. I just got a confirmation from this guy, Rob Keens of Gold Silver Pros, who's going to be part of a roundtable. And also will have a booth there. So I know for people, Rob, it's been really nice watching the success of your channel. And you have a lot of people watching every night, so they will have some opportunities to come in and talk with you and ask you questions. So you'll have a booth down there. First Majestic Silver is going to be there, and they'll have a booth. So certainly, if you have questions about the Eric Sprott deal, the the pricing of the shares, what Keith Neumeyer is thinking, Keith will be speaking as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, I really wanted to make like a Silver Fantasy Camp where if you follow Silver World, you listen to Keith Neumeyer. If you watch my show or come and watch your show, Rob, or some of the other Silver channels out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, rather than trying to outdo anyone, I just tried to include everyone, which I think is what has set it up to be a nice event that I think people are excited about.
Yeah, and honestly, being a viewer of your channel for the last few years, I think that's one of the strengths of your channel is how many different voices you have on, how many different people you talk to. I've often called you a master networker. I think you know more people in this space than anybody else. So that's why I'm really excited about the conference, just getting the chance to network and meet with people. Definitely, if you're interested in the silver space at all or in precious metals, there's going to be tons of people here to talk to for sure. And the virtual conferences are really fun because you get an opportunity a lot of times to jump in with 3 or 4 other people and have a good group chat. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, Rob. Sometimes it's kind of funny. I grew up an introvert, and the idea of networking was once a bit overwhelming. But I think that's what's nice when we're following something that we have a genuine interest in. And certainly in the silver world, I mean, it's a small community, so everybody knows each other. Most of the people are great to do things with, and something I love about the way you approach things as well, where I know there's differences, or one guy sees this, or there's some businesses that are competing and whatnot, and that's fine, but at least I've always tried to approach it to get the best information out there, talk to people that have insightful things to say, and round that all up. And it seems like bringing, if we bring the folks together in the silver world, there's a massive pie for everyone to enjoy, especially once nature reflects what perhaps I think might make more logical sense pricing wise. And it's coming. It seems like it started. We'll see what the short term holds, but it seems like Jerome Powell is guaranteeing the long term. I mean, if you ever saw the price of anything go down, the guy's going to be there with his printing press. Interesting, they have a meeting next week, which maybe they'll make inflation targeting, these phrases that they come up with. I don't know if there's like some guy in the Fed who's like his job is to come up with quantitative easing, or
he's the guy with the red stapler they put in the basement. It comes up with all their policies.
Yeah, I even saw Powell's, there's some headline, him saying that masks are going to boost the economy. It's funny, I'm traveling on the road here. I've been in a couple hotels this week. And I mean, it's like they're making an industry out of like signs of like how to cover your nose when you sneeze, or, how to. So, I mean, that might be, maybe that's the Fed's plan, just to sell more masks. But outside of that, I'll take my silver. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way with gold too. It's like, I don't know what else you're supposed to think. Like, what else do you, I mean, all right, if you're trading, that's one thing, but if someone's not a hedge fund manager and they say, all right, I don't want to have my savings destroyed, what else do I do? It's almost like they removed all the other options from the board.
Yeah, and that's the effect of the Fed policy, is to push people into higher risk assets, right? Push them into the stock market, which I think most people agree is a bubble. Even if you think that bubble can keep going, it's a bubble. The valuations are excessive to what we see historically. The bonds, the interest rates are falling, not a lot of yield on those, and so much debt outstanding. Are we at the end of that? And how confident are people that's got another 10 years, without having some sort of major issue? Where else do you go? Real estate prices are really high. Where I live, I mean, we couldn't afford to move now if we wanted to. We're lucky we got our mortgage a few years ago when we did. We couldn't buy the same house because prices are sky high. So where else do you go? And then you look at the precious metals, it's like, aha, people aren't really interested in that. And certainly if you're a value investor of the Buffett ilk or the Peter Lynch ilk, or you look for things to buy low that are undervalued and sell them later on high, it seems like precious metals is one of the ways to go to me. I don't know. That's just kind of my thought on that.
You know how I feel. I agree. Although it is interesting and perhaps worth mentioning that you could actually probably construct a solid argument that in nominal dollar value, that stocks could be undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they're actually undervalued in a normal sense, but to the degree that I wondered this for years, and I think Jeremy Powell has given us a better indication where it seems clear that they're never going to let Tesla fall. They're never going to let Apple fall, that whatever insane amount of money is required to print it. Now, with that said, after maybe the world starts to realize that this is the definition of a Ponzi scheme, manipulation is overwhelmed in the metals, and, we're a couple of years into the future. Certainly, I think that if you look at relative to gold or silver or relative to the cost of things that you're buying, you will lose purchasing power. So the bubble will crash, but probably a lot of people will never quite be able to see it or grasp it because, maybe Tesla stock is 4,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, but watch out how much your slice of pizza is costing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I mean, it's hard for me to see some way that gold and silver don't wildly outperform that over time. How much time we'll see. And to me, that's the challenge with the metals, where it's an exercise in patience. There's some people have been waiting 50 years. Although with that said, anyone who's been talking about gold, I mean, and you don't have to say one day anymore, that's already happened. And gold was what, $35 before Nixon scammed us onto the dollar standard. So, the stuff is happening. Sometimes it can feel a little glacial, but I guess the counter to that is that if you don't want to sit glued to a screen trying to day trade charts all day, you just want to put stuff somewhere safe, go out, take a walk, and wander around the globe or something. I don't know. This is year 19 of my investment career now. I've never found something that, if you have patience, it's rare that you have high upside and high probability of achieving that upside. You need some patience, though. And if you have that and have some time to wait, I think it's a good setup.
Yeah, I agree. I think gold and silver are going to be generational investments. I've said that. And for me, the best way to invest, after having invested in everything, day trading currencies, which that'll set your hair on fire if you've never done it. If you want to talk about leverage in the stock market, try the currency market, trading the pound euro or the dollar euro on a leveraged margined account, and see how that fits you. After having done all that when I was young, I figured out maybe I just look for something that's really undervalued, give it 10 years, and make some generational wealth out of it. So yeah, definitely my focus is on the gold and silver. I think it's the best deal going right now for people looking for longer term value. But I'm biased, of course. So any last thoughts on before we get into SilverFest? I know it's coming tomorrow. Super, super excited about it. Any last thoughts on what's going on with the precious metals or the economy that you want to leave the audience?
Sure. And perhaps along the lines of what you were just mentioning, where, you have these markets that are so highly levered. And I think if people said, well, gee, not you and I, but the government, central banks were tacking on more debt, more money printing faster than ever, how come the metals prices didn't go up? And I think what you talked about explains that, because it's so massively levered, whether it's high frequency trading algorithms, robots, Keynesians, chart readers, or or banks. So I mean, it has divorced itself from anything remotely regarding the fundamentals, and maybe that's why, I don't know, for the last 7 years when the Fed talked about tightening, they never actually tightened anything. But if you con a large enough percent of the investing population into believing it and acting on it, when everything's levered up that highly, maybe it takes some change in that. I don't know that we need 50% of people buying metals. Maybe it's like, maybe we just go from 2 to 3 could be enough to break the paper hold on the market. I would suggest that's why we saw silver jump up $10 in a month, because we're seeing part of that. And I mean, you see banks kind of get nervous about being short silver. I mean, it takes some balls to short silver while Jeremy Powell is talking, unless you're spoofing, which supposedly these guys are getting arrested. I mean, it continues to happen, but oh, sorry about that. But anyway, I mean, that's the outcomes that you're down to. I mean, give it enough time, and you know where it's headed.
Well, Chris, it was an absolute pleasure. Can't wait till SilverFest tomorrow. I'm going to basically unplug this weekend, spend a lot of time there. I'm really going to enjoy it. Hopefully you guys in the audience will come along with us too. Registration's free. We'll put the link down here in the description for the video. Thank you so much for Chris for hosting this. It's great for us to have a place to go to, especially in this COVID environment where we can't travel, to go and talk to people with like minds who believe in the precious metals. So appreciate you putting this on.
Well, thanks, Rob. I'm honored that you're going to be a part of it. And yeah, like you said, I mean, there's going to be the panels and all that, but really just being able to connect with other people that are seeing the same world, I think that's going to be the real fun part of it. So look forward to seeing you there.
All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow at SilverFest.